We are live with the Health, Love, Life, Adventure Show. This is Coach Arnie. I figured we'd have a little fun tonight because I'm heading to the Grand Canyon again. Well, I was going to go tomorrow, but I'm waiting. I'm going to go on Saturday now. And because it's snowing. So it's kind of not a bucket list, but a goal of mine is to be on those trails with snow. I've done with ice now, and on the South Rim, but so it's presenting an opportunity because I missed out on that opportunity last year. Then COVID hit, and so you snooze, you lose, and because everybody told me not to go. So this year I'm not really listening to that. I'm listening to my gut, and if I'm a little scared, that's a good thing. But I'm also being very, I'm tracking, I'm looking. And the neat thing about the Grand Canyon is it's a very, very well-regulated trails, and still the wilderness, but it's not like you're not orienteering and you're out there, hacking your way through the wilderness. No, it's very organized, trails, bathrooms, they're fairly wide, canyon cliffs, stay away from the edge. Although I am going at night on the North Rim, so that's where the snow's going to be. So it'll be interesting. Next time we come on, I'll tell that story. But so I was reviewing some information, and I ran across an article that I read in Outside Magazine by a backpacker, a young lady, and I couldn't find her name. She goes by an alias on Twitter, so I'm not even going to mention it. But she did a really nice job of, and she made the statement: "Is hiking the Grand Canyon is a trip of a lifetime?" So I kind of did a play on words, and then I just said, "Well, why is it a trip of a lifetime?" And I thought we would just have a discussion because I don't have to explain to most people what the Grand Canyon is. Some people may not know where it is. Well, it's in Arizona, actually northern Arizona, but it's been on our radar since really 1869, if not before that. Somewhere in the 1820s, maybe. And but it wasn't first really navigated until 1869 by John Wesley Powell, a former major in the Union Army, and he had one arm. And so I actually was encouraged by a connection on LinkedIn to read the book Down the Great Unknown, and the story of John Wesley Powell's adventure. And it's like, wow. I mean, I'm just finishing up. I've got like just a little bit left. And but what a crazy story. It has everything in there of these I want to say 10 guys that started off from this little river station in Wyoming and headed down the Green River down into ran into the Colorado River in northern Arizona territory at the time. And I think they started in June of 1869. They finished in late October, early September of 1860. I think they said it took 99 days. And just some of the things that these men had to endure. I mean, literally the last few weeks where they were starving. They didn't have hardly any food left. They were eating unleavened bread because their baking powder had gotten wet, and just all their food was spoiled. Bacon was spoiled. Flour was spoiled. The only thing I think that was not spoiled was coffee. And they were eating dried apples. They were trying to fish and hunt, but really couldn't do much there. But so that book has really awakened me as far as what this place is really all about. Because the neat thing about the Grand Canyon when you go down there, even today, is a lot hasn't changed since 1869 when John Wesley Powell went through there. and except for a couple bridges. And they actually, it's funny, the part they were talking about going through the Grand Canyon, they were talking about where I'm going to be going to Phantom Ranch, and the terrain and the mile high cliffs and the bighorn sheep, deer, just amazing stuff that these men had to endure. Things that I don't mess around with is those rapids, because I've never gone on a boat ride, and I don't know if I ever will. It's not something that gets me excited, like navigating through the terrain, because it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and part of what I'm going to be doing here. So hang on a second. When I do my trip, it's going to be a full moon. So here we go again. This will be my 4th full moon trip, and first time ever in March. So first springtime trip, and because the 3 months I have not gone is March, April, and May. Been in June, July, and August, but which are the months they tell you not to go. So I plan on making trips in the next 3 months. But it's going to be a full moon. So I'm like I said, I generally start on a Friday night, finish on a Saturday morning. But this time I'm going to shift it over because it's snowing, and I'll start on a Saturday. I'm going to start on Saturday afternoon, early Saturday afternoon, and I'm going to finish early. I'm going to finish right at, the goal is, if things go well, I'll finish right about sunrise or so Sunday morning, and my plan is to be home in Phoenix, Arizona, taking a nap by noon. Yeah, and but it's going to be epic, because it's got some different elements to it. It's got the nighttime adventure through the canyon. It's got, and I'll spend most of my night on the North Rim, which is really cool. And then snow. The weather looked like it was going to be really cold, so I'm still debating on my clothing. As the Norwegians would say, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So I don't want to make the mistake of having bad clothing. But I also have to remember that everything I carry down there, I got to carry out. It's not like I can just drop it off somewhere. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. It'll be an adventure. And so, getting back to our original question, why is this magical place a trip of a lifetime? Well, let's just go over a few little tidbits of information. First of all, the Grand Canyon is a marvel of geological history. So there it is, sitting there with, depending on where how you believe, but something created, literally billions of years of magic with rock formations and fossils and you name it, it's there. And in the beauty of these cliffs and what the river has done and what something has done, what nature has done, it's magical. There's something about it. Even Indian tribes. I went on my last adventure, I took a Hopi Indian gentleman with me whose tribe is the main tribe down there. And it is sacred ground to them. And we got to learn a lot about that from him, sharing his knowledge of the tribe. He even prayed before we went and sprinkled corn at the rim before we started to honor his tribe. And then once we got down there, we got to see some Hopi Indian ruins. And he explained to us, even though I've seen these signs for years, but he explained to us what they were. So it's kind of cool. So all this history, and here's what's interesting. Not unlike the national history museums in in DC or other places that have historical museums like LA and Chicago and places like that, where you and I and our family can just go there, pay an entry fee, and just go and walk around for a few hours and take some pictures and get a postcard and blah, blah, blah. Most people on this planet will never get to experience the Grand Canyon the way I am. Most people. 6 million visitors a year visit the Grand Canyon up until last year. And it's coming back, because one of my challenges with doing it on a Saturday is I'm going to run into a lot of traffic. I've been checking the webcam, and man, those cars are lining up. People are excited. They're getting back out in nature, man, where we need to get that sunshine and the just the beauty of the canyon. And whatever you're at, whatever park you're at, or whatever opportunity you have, to get outside, get some nature, get some fresh air and sunshine, get healthy again. I did a podcast this morning with a gentleman, and we both agreed, that because he was asking me about what I do and challenges and stuff with health and fitness. And I just said, one of the biggest things in my life this past year is the fact that we've gotten so unhealthy. To prevent illness, we got unhealthy. Probably the first time in history that's ever happened in this country. So, but we're gonna pay a price, but hopefully we'll be able to turn it around a little bit. So, but 6 million visitors visit the Grand Canyon every year. 6 million, and probably 1% or less. Let's just call it 1%. So that'd be about what, 6,000. Go below the rim, and you can see them there. Whenever I go there, there's visitors hopping down there. A few feet, a few miles, maybe, but probably a tenth of that, a tenth of 1%. Head down, get to the river. And so maybe another percentage of that do what I'm going to do and go all the way across. Okay. And, so that, but you're still talking about tens of thousands that go all the way across. And then maybe another tenth of those will go all the way across and back. So I know that I'm a small percentage of people that will see the canyon the way I'm going to see it. And even smaller percentage is going to do it under a full moon. Because I've only run into a handful that have done it that way. If you're camping down there, that's different. But we're not talking about camping, because a lot of hikers will go down to, there's 1, 2, 3 campgrounds down below the rim. So a lot of people will make reservations and camp 3 different nights, and maybe even 5 as they come back. Depends on what they're going to do, or more. If you could stay at the North Rim, but the North Rim is not open right now. So the trip of the question, why is this a trip of a lifetime, is because so few people get to experience it this way. Because you have to kind of be fit. You got to be healthy. Forget fit. You got to be healthy to be able to experience it this way. Now, you'll hear it all the time. What about those meals? Absolutely. If you're lucky enough to win the lottery and get a meal ride down to Phantom Ranch and stay there for a couple of nights, good for you. Very few people can win that lottery. It's only a few. It's only a few handful of cabins. So again, take those numbers that I talked about earlier and shrink them down even more of people that get to stay at Phantom Ranch. But they get to experience it, and it's cool. I see them every time I go. I'll see them tomorrow. I'll see them on Saturday. I wonder how they're going to go down that ice. That'll be interesting, but they will. But to experience the canyon from the back of a mule, I don't know, different perspective. different perspective, but it's going to happen, and it's happening every day. It's happening today. Happening yesterday. It might not happen in a blizzard, but or a big snowstorm, rainstorm, but maybe. But when I'm talking about experiencing it, be able to go down into the canyon, to the river, to Phantom Ranch, to the North Rim, just a small percentage. So that alone makes it a trip of a lifetime, because so few get to experience. It's like going and visit the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Wow. I mean, it's kind of on my bucket list right now. It's kind of crazy over there, but yeah, I mean, I'd be kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of, even though I do this crazy stuff of doing Mount Everest, because it's such a long process. So it's not really on my bucket list, but there's some other mountains that are on my bucket list that I want to have a run at. And there's other places too, like that I haven't been to. But the Grand Canyon is unique in all of this, in that it's one of the few places in the world that you really have to be at a certain health level to be able to experience it. And that makes it a trip of a lifetime, because what you have to do to prepare in order to do it. Because if you're not healthy, and hopefully fit enough, you're not going to have a good time. You're going to be miserable. You're not going to, one of my, we went down 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Well, almost 4 now. It'll be 4. 4 weeks ago. And I just got a text from a guy that went, he goes, I want to do the canyon again. He's my videographer. But he's not ready. If he was ready, he'd be going with me Saturday. But he's not ready to do a rim to rim to rim yet. So I can't even take my videographer with me, because it's that important that people be fit to be able to do something like this. And so to be able to see the things that I'm going to see and share them with people, and share about the uniqueness of what the canyon looks like after a snowstorm. I mean, very few people will ever be able to tell you that story. Very few. Because such a small percentage go through the Grand Canyon. And even smaller percentage go north of Phantom Ranch. Yeah. And so, everything I bring up, below the rim, to Phantom Ranch, north of Phantom Ranch, North Rim, full moon. I mean, now we're really tiny. Full moon. Yeah. And then all the way across, all the way back with a full moon, with snow. So, I mean, just really cool stuff here that is so unique to the canyon. And then being in a place like that just is magical on top of that. It just makes it worthwhile. And that's why I wanted to share that article with you, and also just some of the craziness of the John Wesley Powell trip, which, it's so interesting, because I'm at the place in the book now where they had just finished the adventure. They left the canyon. It kind of flattens out as it heads over to, which is now, I think, Lake Mead now, I want to say. I should know that. And but they don't really mention that, because it hadn't been created yet, because there was no Hoover Dam. That didn't come until the early 1900s. And then they got out and headed over to St. George, Utah, and then over to Salt Lake City, John Wesley Powell and his brother, Walter. And they actually found out that 3 of the men that didn't want to take on the last few rapids in the Grand Canyon, they decided to bail out. And I don't know the truth of this story, but it sounds like they were killed by Indians as they made their way above the cliffs towards the Excuse me, gee, that came on. As they made their way to supplies, because they left the canyon. They didn't have water or food or anything. So, but it was an interesting story. So why don't I'll come back to that. I want to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We are back. So yeah, what I want to do, let me finish up that little bit with Beyond Down the Great Unknown with John Wesley Powell, which is, I think I said he was, Lake Powell was named after. My friend had to remind me of that when I was sharing the book with him. I go, oh, of course. So, but yeah, they got to Utah, and he started doing lectures on everything, and they found out that 3 of their party had been killed. I'm hoping for a little more clarity on that, maybe at the very end of the book, but we'll see. But the most important thing is what these men did, what they endured. I mean, it's almost unthinkable what they did to navigate, to study this amazing place in wooden boats down these horrific rapids for, I want to say, over 1,000 miles. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. When on hardly any food and wet clothing and wet this and wet that. And they did it. They did it. It's amazing what the human mind can achieve if you allow it to. See, that's why when I read stories like that, it excites me, because it's like, what can I do if I set my mind on it? What could I do? And I think that's the most important thing about an adventure. And we've talked about adventures before on this show, but that's why I wanted to kind of bring that up about the Grand Canyon, because that stuff like that is what makes the Grand Canyon a trip of a lifetime, to know these things that have happened down there. The explorers, have lost their life down there because they couldn't figure out how to get through it or up and over it. The same place that I'm going to be going, except they didn't have a trail. They had to pick their way through the wilderness and climb rocks that you and I would think was absolute insanity, with boots and no gear, no nothing. Just, are you kidding me? One guy was doing it, the leader, he was doing it with one arm. He was climbing every day, or just about, that they took a break so he could get a better look at the river to be able to navigate it. Can you imagine that? There was one time he was stuck on a ledge. His feet were on a ledge. He was holding on to a ledge and losing his grip. He only had one arm. And literally, and I guess there was a movie. In the movie, they put pants on this man, but here he took off his underwear because that's all he had. These are from the official notes. And he literally had to lean over this cliff and get his underwear. Long John's in a position for this. The leader, John Wesley Powell, could literally let his hand go and grab the underwear in a split second, and then hopefully be pulled up. And that, I mean, are you kidding me? This is insane stuff. And they were telling stories about how they would climb up in the dark to look for information or whatever they were doing. And many times they had to work their way back down in the dark. The only thing they had to, as a guide, was the campfire. I mean, this is amazing stuff, guys. This is amazing stuff. And it gets me excited because the more I learn about the Grand Canyon, the more I want to learn about it. You know, I've got another trip planned sometime in April to go visit this place. I think they call it the Domes. And there's these caves down there that you can go visit and check out. But you got to be able to climb over 2,500 feet to get there. You know, so again, is it doable? Yeah, it's very doable if you're healthy and fit. But again, most people aren't going to do it. They're not ready. And it would be too much of a challenge for them. So it's one of those things where, you know, if somebody came to me as a coach and say, hey, coach, can you get me ready? Because I'd like to go down to the Grand Canyon. I go, absolutely. What are you willing to do? I know what you want. That's the result. But what are you willing to do to get there? Well, if you're willing to get healthy and fit, then there's a good chance that you can be one of the 1%. That's right. And depending on what you're willing to do, there's a chance you could be one of the 1/10 of 1%. But you have to work towards it. I have a friend that I've been helping, and he's got a very big goal. And I'm okay with big goals. But as long as you're putting in the work behind it, and I've just noticed that some things are happening in his schedule that are very typical of what happens to people when they have a big goal. Things start to get in your way. And so, which is one reason I teach people not to have time goals for doing the Grand Canyon that are big challenges. I would rather you be safe. Now, look, I don't believe that you should be spending 24 hours plus in the Grand Canyon unless you're camping. It's just way too long to be on your feet. That's a day. You're walking around for a day on your feet. That's a big deal. You're asking for problems, and people do get in trouble because of that. It's way too long. And who trains for that? You know, crazy people like me do, but most people don't train to be out on their feet for 24 hours. Are you kidding me? Remember, the uniqueness here is the Grand Canyon requires that you be healthy enough to get down to the bottom and back without having to be carried. That's all. I mean, I guess it sounds simple enough, but it's not. It's hard. It's hard, but that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it a trip of a lifetime. It is hard. It is a lot of work, but it's such a special place that it's got its own built-in filtering system for people, because only people that earn it are going to go down there. Now, part of the problem is that the park frowns on this because a lot of people don't earn it. They assume it. They think they can just go wandering down the trails and just come lollygagging back out of there. I was just talking to somebody the other day. We were talking about what I do and how I do it. He goes, oh yeah, you know, we were there a few years ago and we decided to hike down. I go, oh, where'd you go? And he said where he went. I think he was on South Kaibab. And he got down about a mile. And he goes, whoa, we better go back up. And he goes, Arnie, that was incredibly hard. 1 mile. 1 mile. So that's the problem. That's the problem. How many people regularly go hiking up a 1 mile mountain? Not very many. Not very many. Now, I know a few here in Phoenix because we have a couple of them. Actually, we have 3 that I know of. You know, and they get busy. But remember, we're talking about a sliver of people out of 6 million. That sliver is willing to do the training to be able to go up, down, and up a mile. Not just a mile in distance, but a mile in elevation. That's the catch. That's where the work comes in. And that's where it takes the training and the fitness and the health to get you there. You know, because we can all say what we want to do. We can all say what we want to do. But unless you're willing to put some overalls on that, it's not going to matter. It's not. It really is not. And then it becomes a danger, because one of the reasons that the park rangers have put, they're not going to say you can't, but they're not inspired by runners, okay, even though they know that people are doing this stuff. But they are more concerned about people that just meander down there thinking that they're going to do some kind of an epic hike. And there's actually signs on both main corridor trails, the Bright Angel Trail and the South Combat Trail, and they're within a half a mile, if not sooner. There's a sign there. It says, "Don't do what you're attempting to do right now." We always joke about it. We always stop and take a picture there because we know that they're talking to us. Not really. They're talking to the people that are going to try to do what we're doing and aren't prepared. Yeah, preparation. I mean, look, why is the Grand Canyon a trip of a lifetime? Because it involves so many different things. It involves health. It involves fitness. It involves strength. It involves mindset. It involves courage. It involves perseverance. So all those things are going to be developed if you choose to go. If you choose to go. But again, you have to do the work. If you do the work, the Grand Canyon is a trip of a lifetime. Because you've earned it. You've earned being able to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever distance you want to go. You know, when I've set up my trips, we've got a number of different destinations. For some, it's Indian Gardens. I was talking to this gentleman that I mentioned earlier about. He's a big adventurer. Actually, I think I mentioned it to Cece, but I didn't mention it here. But I ran into a great guy. He's older than me. How's that? And we were talking about a group that's planning on going to the river on Bright Angel Trail in about a month. And him and I both agreed. We didn't have to say anything, but we both said at the same time that even going to Indian Gardens would be a hell of a hike for most of these folks. We both agreed that there was a handful in here that could do it. They could do it. But for most people, hiking to Indian Gardens would be a wonderful hike. 5 miles one way, 10 miles total, about 3,000 feet of climbing. I got news for everybody here. That would be a hell of a day for all most everybody I'm talking to right now. A hell of a day. And you see a lot of neat things. A lot. So it's the mindset here is because when I originally heard about the Grand Canyon, it's funny because I was talking about this morning with the gentleman that first, he didn't give me the idea, but we had been working out together. We've been lifting some heavy weights, and his dad's a big lifter, my coach. And this guy was, at the time, he was much bigger than I was, probably a good 50 pounds. And I was getting kind of scrawny, and I was trying to keep up with him. Man, I was telling him, I go, you're killing me. I was sore every day, cramping, sore, just to do this stuff, and then we did that for quite a while until my body felt like it was going to fall apart. And one day we kind of challenged each other. What do you like to do? What do you want to do? We were kind of needling each other. And I go, I'm going to do the Grand Canyon. Well, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to do the Grand Canyon. I'm going to do the Grand Canyon. How's that? Right? And he goes, okay, you do the Grand Canyon. I'm going to try out for the World Championship long driving contest because he liked hitting golf ball. I go, awesome. So I took it seriously. I started doing my homework on the Grand Canyon. I found this guy who became my coach. I found his website, what he was doing, how he was teaching people. And I got wound up. I was learning about how to do this stuff. I had no clue what I was doing. None. Didn't talk to anybody, just watch videos and what he was doing on his website. And so my son-in-law, my daughter, and I did it. We did it a year after I made that commitment to my friend to do it. A year after, and I started doing these longer races, and it just fit, and it was a horrible trip. I loved it though. That's why I kept coming back. But my son-in-law had a tough time. Now we were going rim to rim to rim, and I'm going to tell you a side story here. I did a presentation at a friend of mine's house, and a friend came in and she goes, hey, Arnie, check this out. Tell her what you're going to do. And I go, I'm going to do rim to rim to rim. I'm a tough guy, right? And she goes, oh, did you already do rim to rim? I go, no. Well, you can't do rim to rim to rim if you haven't done rim to rim. I go, well, who says? Well, you just can't. Her standard answer for me for like 10 minutes was, well, you just can't do that. I go, really? I go, I'm scheduled to do a 50 miler in a couple weeks. She goes, okay, but you still can't do it. I had no idea what she was talking about. I had never been to the Grand Canyon. But all I know is this. When someone does that to me, I'm going to figure it out. And she did that to me for 10 minutes. Tell me what I couldn't do. So I had so much fun with that. And we went down there. We did it. It was terrible for my son-in-law because he got sick. And my daughter, because it just blew her pace, and I was in heaven. I knew I'd be coming back, and the following year we came back because I was worried that they wouldn't want to come back again because he had such a tough time. I went up for a walk the next day at the Grand Canyon. I came back, and they both said, "We want to do it again." All right, but since then I've learned. That's why we call it Coach Arnie style. I've learned I don't need to do it with other people. I love people, but like this weekend, I called a couple people. I knew it was short notice because of the weather and different things. I had to kind of wait. And I go, I'm going. And threw it out there. Nobody bit. I've been invited on 3 other trips already. I don't know if I'm going to go on them because I can't go every weekend. But, I'm okay with going by myself now. I know it scares my wife, but, it's not like it used to because I've done it now. And I'm responsible. Meaning I'm cautious, but at the same time, why do we do these crazy things? We do these crazy things because they challenge us. Why is the Grand Canyon a trip of a lifetime? Because it challenges you. You just can't go lollygagging down there and pay for your ticket and go take some pictures of dinosaur bones. The only way to get your ticket punched is to get in shape, get healthy. If you need to lose weight, lose weight. If you need to learn how to eat, learn how to eat. If you need to learn how to exercise, you got to learn how to exercise. That's what I've built in to my program. Because as an exercise physiologist, I went back to doing what I did 30 years ago. I was just telling my coach this tonight because he helped me with these, what they call verticals. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, the Grand Canyon is a great thing, but I got to get people healthy and fit. Well, what if people just want to get healthy and fit? Bingo. I can do that. Then you can decide what you want to do later. Make sense? But if someone says, I want to do the Grand Canyon, and then we go back to the beginning. Well, how healthy are you? It's one of my first questions. Well, I need to lose some weight. Okay. Well, I need to get in shape. Okay. That's what we're going to do. We're going to set that up for you. And then we plan the trip. We plan, because if you need to lose 50 pounds and you need to go from 0 to 100 to get in your shape, it's not going to happen by next weekend. It might not happen in a month. Chances are, well, it may not be 2 months, maybe not 3 months, depending on how old you are. It could be a year, it could be 6 months. I don't know. We're going to figure it out because I want to customize it to you so that you're doing what you want to do when you want to do it within reason. Because remember I said, if your whole thing was like, I've got 2 ladies that I've got to meet with this week, and they've always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, but they're young, they're fit. But being fit and being canyon fit, 2 different things, and we've talked about that. So we're meeting again to solidify what they want to do and how they want to do it. And then it's up to me to help them. If they want to do it, I help them. And then once in their case, I told her, I said, well, at the end of May would just be right at the limit for you, couple of fit ladies like you, right at the limit. And it would be because of what they're able to do, And so, but everybody's a little bit different. So I have to be careful. On how they're going to do it. So we can do it if they're fit, if they're healthy, and then you can do these great things. And that's why the Grand Canyon is that trip of a lifetime, because you earn it. You'll earn it. These ladies, one of them is going home to the Ukraine, and she wants to go home and brag about it, in the summer. That's going to motivate her, isn't it? It's going to inspire her to work hard so that when she does it, she can go, yay, I did it, and have videos and pictures and all kind of stuff about her trip. Understand? So that's what's involved here. To be able to experience something like this. That's what's going to make it such an epic trip for everybody. Because being able to experience something like this that's so unique is part of the epic adventure of doing the Grand Canyon, which is why, Epic Adventures is determined to make your Grand Canyon trip a trip of a lifetime. Because I know it's gonna stay with you forever. Because you're gonna do it right. And when you do things right, they stay with you. I'll be honest with you. When you do things goofy, they stay with you too. But we don't want to do that. That's the whole idea here. I want to show you how to do it the right way and have fun. And in the process of getting there, you're going to get healthy and fit. How's that? You're going to get healthy and fit. So that's this week's show. I guess we're going to take a break for a week, but we'll be back, and I'm going to share with you what happened and go over it. It'll be fun. We'll have some fun and some fun memories to share. But in the meantime, if you have any questions for me about doing something like the Grand Canyon, there's my phone number. There's my email. I'll answer you in less than a day. I'll get back to you. We'll set up a call and we'll talk about it. And I will help you to do this and I will help you to create great memories that you will never forget. And you'll be asking me at the end, hey, coach, what's next? What's next? And I'm going to show you. All right, guys, this is Coach Arnie with Epic Adventures and Health, Love, and Life's Adventure Show. And I love you. And I will be back, and we will have a great conversation on my full moon adventure at the Grand Canyon. Talk to you later.